Welcome to the Beard Me That Beer podcast. I'm David.
I'm Sam.
And welcome to episode number 27, the third in the Brews Brothers review series.
Season 1.
Yeah, season 1. We'll see if there's a season 2.
It still doesn't affect that it would be season 1 still.
Yeah, we're in season 1.
One season of a show still means it's season 1.
2 episodes per podcast. We're on episode 5 and 6 this week. Actually, next week is 7 and 8, and
that's it.
That's the series. It didn't do the 10 episode normality. Especially because it's only half an hour, less than half an hour long.
In and out.
I thought they were going to do at least 10, but what do I know?
Yep.
What does David know? Nothing. But first, the beer, and we have the same beer this week because we are now healthy people that can be responsible enough to hang out with each other.
Don't tell on us.
We're not in public, and I know Sam doesn't go in public, and I'm pretty sure I've had it, so I'm good.
But I haven't.
We don't know that.
But I haven't, though.
We don't know that. The beer from Mikkeller San Diego. Real quick, off the Mikkeller website. Mikkeller is worldwide, if people did not know that.
Is it?
In 2003, he was a math and physics teacher who started experimenting with hops, malts, and yeast at home in his small Copenhagen kitchen, just a stone's throw away from Carlsberg's main brewing site. Today, Mikkel Borg, don't know how to say this, Bjergjo, exports his craft beer to 50 countries and operates an equal number of bars and restaurants around the globe. His inventive, constant development of Mikkeller had brought him international acclaim as one of the most innovative and cutting-edge brewers and entrepreneurs in the world.
I gotta say, I'm pretty confident that pronunciation was maybe not 100% there.
I don't know how to... Here, I'll spell it for you. B J
Bird
E R G O with a line through it diagonally and then a squiggly.
BJERO with a line through it and then a squiggly?
Here, I'll say it right. Oh, it's BJERGS with an O and a line diagonally through it.
One more time.
BJERGS O with a line through it.
Beer lowers.
Bjorgs. Bjorgs. I
feel like that's not right.
I think S-O would be Z, right? Z. Anyways, we have the Staff Magician. These beers were poured in San Diego, California.
Via Magic.
Mikkeller San Diego. This is a hazy New England style pale ale. So a hazy pale ale. And we have this pink one that I think got exploded on by another beer because it's dirty. Yours is very dirty. I apologize for that. And there's a hair on it.
Thank you. We care about our friends here at Beard Me That Beer and what they drink.
And the other one, this one's a sour, a Berliner-Style Weisse beer brewed with raspberries and coffee.
A Berliner?
A Berliner. Raspberry Blush. 4%.
Interesting. So very much on the lower end of the spectrum in terms of get plastered in a sip.
They're not fucking IPAs.
Yeah,
Thank
which is nice.
Fucking good Lord.
That is a nice way to ease us back into.
Thank you, San Diego, for
company.
only producing fucking IPAs. Sorry. Seriously, I love San Diego, but too many people think they like IPAs.
Too many people think.
Well, IPAs are good, but let's branch out. Stouts, porters, reds. Good luck with finding a really good amber anywhere. Rock Bottom had one. And I think North Park maybe had one. Yeah, I barely see red ales.
What about like a Pilsner or something?
A Pils? You can find Pils and lagers are now very popular, so you can find those at basically anywhere. But apparently, what's it called? It starts with an E. It's on the Embarcadero. They have like a bayfront property.
So you're saying
they have a bunch of Pils and lagers.
Okay, so those are bargain bin beers.
No, Pils aren't bargain bins. I'm just saying that they are high in flavor. I think they're hard to do because they're easy to fuck up. Which one are you gonna have first?
Which one are you gonna have first?
I'm gonna have the pale ale. Duh.
Then I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna drink
At all.
Thanks for the beer, but no thanks.
All right. Super bittery, super hoppy.
yes.
Doesn't taste like a full pale ale to me.
Didn't.
It's timid. I can taste the hazy. It's a harsh hazy though. Very bitter. Not as creamy, I think, as it should be. But that's nice beer though.
What are you drinking again?
Now he wants to drink it.
It's a
hazy New England style pale ale.
I don't know. The way you described it right now, I thought you were just drinking straight coffee creamer. So
No, that's what you're about to drink. I just like listening to the lush sound of my voice. Samson.
hello.
Hello. Does that taste like coffee and raspberries, or does it taste disgusting?
What kind of beer is
It's a sour, so it
tastes like a sour.
It's tart.
It's a
I don't think coffee goes with tart at all.
tart.
Tart.
I don't think coffee goes with tart.
Tart at all.
Is it? So there's coffee flavor in here.
It says coffee on
I can
on the
definitely
can.
taste. It tastes like not so much straight coffee. It tastes like the beans of coffee.
That's good. Then that's
It's like-
real. That's the real taste of beans.
It's
It's got an authentic flavor.
It's
of
not as
coffee.
offensively sour as your typical sour.
So you think most sours are offensively sour?
Yeah, I'm offended when I drink sours generally.
Some people would disagree with you.
Like I feel like, it's like I kick it back and I could feel like the roots of my teeth loosening up. Like I'm just gonna lose them.
That's
By
what
the time
sour tastes like, though.
Digest.
That's what sour tastes like.
Losing your teeth?
I mean, losing your teeth. Period.
I've never thought of it like that. Yeah, maybe.
That's
This
the-
does not taste
Completely
as
sour.
It's like it's pleasantly sour.
Okay.
Like in the
I
way
think
that
coffee
like
would be a weird flavor. Maybe chocolate, because then you get chocolate raspberry tart.
you would think, but it's more like hints of at the end.
Is it roasty?
Kind of
Or
roasty.
bean?
Well,
Because bean has its own flavor.
it's like a well roasted bean.
Okay, so it's a combination of both.
A combination.
So maybe starchy, burnt starch. That's what you're saying.
I suppose, but yeah, no, it's good. It's I don't mind this. Like, I think I could definitely drink maybe like a good 2-3 cans of this before I'm like tap out.
I have 2 more on the ground, so.
That's perfect. Give them to me. Those beers belong to me.
So yeah, thank you, Mikkeller San Diego. Mikkeller, most of you probably know this. Hopefully most of you know this. Mikkeller is in their location in Miramar. They have 2. There's a Miramar one and a Little Italy one. Their Miramar location is the former location of Alesmith when they were smaller, when they first were doing normal things.
So
now
like-
Alesmith is huge.
So
and
like Snail Smith.
has a giant fucking thing. But yeah, that's where Mikkeller is.
Mikkeller sounds like an auto parts store.
Mikkeller Auto Parts.
Doesn't it sound like it's got
No.
like the ring of
No, to me it sounds like a word. Oh, that guy was just being such a Mikkeller.
no. I definitely get like auto part shop vibes. Like I feel like this is on the same street as like an O'Reilly's and like an AutoZone,
It doesn't O'Reilly's have.
and then right down the street it's like the Toyota dealership.
And then right before that is the Boll Weevils, where you go eat lunch.
Wow, where's there a Boll Weevils anymore around here? I haven't seen a Boll Weevils in a long time.
Well, before COVID, there was one in Kearney Mesa near where I used to live, and I went there once, and it was amazing.
The only thing I remember of Boll Weevils is like the lackadaisical like diner look, but it's like a dimmer. It was almost like Roadhouse
it was
diner
like the
with like
what's it called? No, see, I haven't been out in the world, so I forget these words. It's a dive bar version
a
of a
divey.
restaurant.
Yeah, it's like a divey diner.
Yeah, but they had really good milkshakes.
I don't know. I liked that they had pool tables
Yeah, they had
and like
4 pool tables and,
like
like 3 or 4 arcade games.
handful of arcade cabinets, but real like dingy kind of grimy arcade
and then
cabinets.
They had a fucking jukebox.
Yeah. Oh, those got to come back.
Okay. So let's jump into it. This is the third in the series of us reviewing Brews Brothers from Netflix original series, a show about the craft beer world in Van Nuys.
A very like slim profile view of
Niche.
hyper exaggerated view of.
Yeah. Yeah. Overly exaggerated all the time. Episode 5 and 6 will be done today. Episode 5 is called LA's Best Knows.
Is that true?
Yes.
I don't remember.
Directed by Annabelle Oakes, written by Steve Joe, created by Greg Schaffer.
Steve Joe?
Steve Joe.
He has two first names.
Steve is his first name. Joe is his second.
Stephen Joseph?
Sure. Wilhelm searches for someone to represent the brewery at a beer tasting competition, while Adam's first time leads to trouble for everyone. That's a very confusing summary.
I mean, that's very broad strokes.
Yeah. If you
kind
watch
of
the episode,
summary.
then read that, it would make sense. But if you didn't know anything about the episode and read that, you're like, I don't want to watch this.
It's not enough detail if you haven't seen it.
Bad
but if you
news.
have seen it, they're like, yeah, that basically describes.
Bad news, yeah, but the episode starts, we're at Rodman's, literally the morning after Monk Monday, where there was a giant fight between actor monks and real monks, and everyone got trashed. Everyone had a good time, though, and people vomited.
We
and-
we enter into the scene with Will and Chewy just on the steps of said brewery. They're like
life.
They're like
They're
just
super
total hungover.
Sarah isn't, because she's underage and isn't allowed to drink.
And yeah, has not been drinking, so
And
she's
Will
super.
lost his keys, so he couldn't get into the fucking brewery. That's bad.
Yeah, and then Sarah basically is like, "Oh, are you guys? Should I be more quiet? Because you guys are too bad. We're going inside. We got to clean this shit up."
And then yells at them. And then she blames someone. She's like, "Oh, we should have fucked our future selves." And then Chewie is like, "Oh, maybe it'll be better than we thought." And then it's pretty bad.
Oh, you mean the line he says when they get in?
Yeah, he's like, "Oh,
He's like, it's not as bad.
Yeah,
yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it was.
Then the worst part, Chewie is like mopping throw up, but not. I mean, one, you wouldn't mop throw up.
You would take the vomit out
Yeah.
and then mop, but he's just scooting it back and forth.
And he's using the raking leaves methods where he piles all the vomit up.
I gotta say, I understand that, but like, you're skipping some steps, man. There's
Yeah, pick up the shit.
yeah.
Adam enters. He looks hella fucked up. Because he got an elbow from Will because he was trying to protect him.
Big moment.
Yeah. But Adam has lost his sense of smell and taste. And he's the one representing them in the beer tasting competition. So here's our central, idea.
Yeah. Which
Plot.
basically, I guess the push for the beer contest thing is just like, it's like free advertising.
Yeah. If you win, that's
yeah, you get a lot of acclaim.
anyone in a niche market would be like, "Oh, I won this. This is awesome."
Yeah, this is something to put in a plaque on the wall.
Yeah. That Truffles, the monk, wakes up from a pile of garbage, basically.
I didn't even notice him back there until he got up.
And apparently his monk brothers left him, and he's kind of stuck in LA. And he walks right into the pile of vomit.
And not even blinking.
Doesn't blink.
I don't even think, does he get out of it? I think he just stands in it the whole time.
But he also says the party was a little tamed
For
American standards.
well, no, by his standards, but he said it was well enough.
Yeah, for American standards.
Yeah.
That's insane.
They
He also
party.
says he has one more truffle stuck up his butt.
Out of what he thought was like 6, maybe 7.
He said he had 7. He thinks there's 1 or 2, maybe.
Disgusting.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah.
Adam then tries to see if Will can do it, but Will is not very good at describing the taste of beer because the first word he says is cold.
Oh, I thought you were still saying like truffles up the butt.
No, this is about trying beer. Then we see Chewie mixing in a fucking King's cup of craft beer and then drinks it.
And they were debating like, well, maybe he could represent. And they're like, no, he definitely can't.
Truffles comes around the corner. gives Adam the truffle. Adam sticks his hand out.
Who just takes it without... Yeah.
But then he's like, oh, why did I do that? And drops it. But then Truffles has that beer, and he's like, describes it perfectly as Adam would have described the beer perfectly. Which, I mean, the way Adam described it was over the top. I don't know if anyone would ever describe it like that, but if anyone who makes beer all the time, I guess a monk would do it.
I mean, like, just stepping back for a second, I think that's like, especially like on our show, like David seems very much in the descriptor category for when he's like,
I try to keep it to
beers.
like a food and tasting and not an experience, though.
So just saying, like we're no strangers to, you know, an abundance of adjectives to describe things, but it's like, it's very pretentious the way they do it in this show.
The way he says it, yeah. It's pretty pretentious.
Between Adam and Truffles, like they're both like, especially later in this episode, the way Truffles describes stuff, I'm like, all right, calm down, dude. It's liquid. It's liquid that goes in your body. It's not, you're not ingesting gold. It's fine.
So they're trying to convince Truffles to represent Rodman's at the beer tasting competition, but he's like, no, I gotta go back to the monastery. We're having a festival for some saint, and they have a beer pong competition against Chimay. Yeah. So, but then Adam finally like gives it in, like, yeah, okay, let's get Truffles. Adam goes and tries to find Becky, because he loves Becky.
He's still on that train, so...
But only finds Elvis, who is dumping the sewage tank from the food truck into the street. No gutter, no anything, straight into the street. Adam offers to help. He tries to break up Elvis and Becky.
Yeah.
Elvis isn't having it, and then mentioned that they have a line of piercings, a matching line of piercings on their taint. So Becky and Elvis, from, I guess, his ball sack to his anus, has a string of piercings, and from the bottom of her vagina to her anus has a string of piercings.
I don't need all that.
Yeah. Adam thought it was a cat,
which they play up when Becky finally shows up,
because she shows up running and is jingling like a cat with a collar, so that it's smart when you put a bell on a cat, because then you can find it if she's moving or he's moving. But she's like jogging, and you can hear the ringing, and
he's like, putting it together now that he knows. He's like, oh, I always thought you guys just had a cat, like a really fast cat that was following you.
Fast cat. So yeah, then we get to the beer competition. It's called LA's Best Beer Knows. Single round elimination. The judges decide who described the beer the best. It is actually held at Angel City Brewery. I saw a sign that said Angel City Brewing inside, and they had a bunch of shirts to purchase on the wall.
Which frame?
Which frame?
Like which second and which numbered frame?
Oh, I don't remember, but they're at the bar top. They're at the bar top.
Okay. It's not like frame like 16,000.
I didn't get that.
At minute 20.
So
21.
they get in there, and then Truffles is like, here's the plan. Because Adam like really wants to help him win. And Truffles like, no, I feel like Truffles already knows he's going to win.
Well,
and
no doubt.
He just doesn't care about it. And he's like, no, my plan is half of us stand in the beer line. The other half stands in the bathroom line. That way, we're just drinking and going to the bathroom.
We have a constant string of just
God's elixir.
Oh man, I like how Chewie describes
then
it.
Says, "Oh, like a human centipede," and then, and this is the funny part, because the first movie is done in Germany.
Truffle
speaks in German, and he says, "Yes, exactly like a human centipede." And if anyone knows me, I love that movie.
I worry for my friend,
my friend's soul,
my friend.
We should go to church.
Go to church, David.
We got to go to church. I'll explain to the father what a human centipede is.
Confession.
So that was funny. But they do a lot of name drops in this episode. Boomtown is a brewery in LA. I haven't been. Actually, no, I have been to it. It's near a street where like we were walking and it's like there's cars parked, but and they don't have windows broken, but you can see a bunch of glass broken. It's like all the cars that were parked overnight that night had just fucking got windows smashed. There's a obnoxious little man named Kale.
Right away. Don't care for that character.
From Iron Triangle Brewery, which is a hint that is actually Rodman's. So Rodman's Brewery, the fictitious brewery in the show, is filmed at Iron Triangle in LA, in Van Nuys, which is kind of a joke. It's like, oh, Iron Triangle has this guy who's won, and he has like a poster of himself that he won 3 times. I don't know if he won 3 times in a row or overall has won 3 times, but he has a poster of himself.
He's a returning champ.
Yeah. Truffles goes against someone from Geyer Brothers Brewing Company. Truffles, I think the Geyer Brothers guy does a good job, but obviously Truffles went over the top, and it's like he told the story from the Bible is how I described it.
Well, yeah. I mean, basically, it's just it's like a match between like 2 writers almost. The way
he had this like thing about Satan.
Yeah, he's like making a bunch of like
a lie from Satan.
Yeah, just biblical analogies.
So Truffles wins it. Adam still thinks he should be in the competition. He then drinks a dark liquid and
to prove a point.
To prove that he can. So he's like, oh, it's balanced, but blah, blah, blah. He's like, that is an American Pale Ale. But if you stop it, you can see that it's a darker beer. There's no way an American Pale Ale will be that dark. And then Sarah's like, that's a Diet Coke. It's like, that's my second guess.
Psych. Yeah. Just trying to save face.
Will is drunk. Apparently he like getting drunk at these beer competitions, which, bless him. He's a brewer, whatever. He's going to the bathroom and trips over a barrel. And he goes to the bathroom. Some guy follows him in there. And he's like, hey, you like to party, man? Like, I'm like, oh, he's going to sell him blow.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he's like, oh, you should try some yeast. And I was like, what the fuck? And then apparently, according to the show, yeast, if you take it before you drink a beer, if you drink a beer, the alcohol is broken down faster with the yeast.
Before it hits the blood. So
you drink a lot and you stay sober. But then the guy offers him, I also sell cocaine. Yeah. And Will's like, no, thank you.
But for like the actual yeast thing, do you think there's any truth to that?
I don't know if that's true. Also, I feel like yeast might be expensive to get. Like, I don't know if you can just buy a vial of it versus a giant bag. Also, I mean, there's yeast all around us. Mm-hmm. Would you be able to, I don't know.
That might be worth doing some research.
Beard me that science with Beard Me That Beer.
We're not scientists.
We're not, but we can do experiments.
I mean, that sounds curious enough.
So then we're on the Truffles beats Brewery West from LA, which is a big brewery in LA.
Competition is closing in.
He goes against Three Weavers. He beats them. He gets really descriptive, but not in a taste, but in an experience kind of way. So I keep saying that. He doesn't describe it as a taste. He says some words, but then he like goes really over the top about how it's described when you're doing something versus when you're tasting something.
Which is I think that was kind of interesting in that I'm like, I don't know if that doesn't sound to me like that would be cause for him to win each round. Like, I'm like, you have to describe them with like...
It's like a peacock, lots of show, no tangibility.
You're being descriptive, but not in a descriptive way.
Not in a taste way. So
yeah.
Like, how's the taste? How's the smell? Don't describe it as I went to the park.
He's like describing feelings he's getting from it rather than like actual tastes. So I don't know. I was like, I don't think that would set you up to win each time. So
it would not.
But for the show, sure.
Then we see Kale beating a lot of competitors. He beats the El Segundo, which is another good brewery up in LA. Mm-hmm. Adam is having a super good time because he thinks he's trying to warm up his palate. So he's like chugging a bunch of beer and he describes it as rosining his bow, which makes sense, I guess. But it doesn't work, and then Adam all of a sudden realizes he's drunk, and he's actually
After Sarah and Chewie are
Tell
like,
him
I think
he's
you're
drunk.
drinking too much.
He
Yeah.
drank 3 beers in 5 minutes, and he's like, "Oh, is this why people drink beer?" We then go to the bathroom again. Truffles is going to the bathroom, and Kale walks in and basically cheats.
Sabotages.
Yeah, he puts smelling salts up to Truffles' nose and basically burns his nose. So Truffles is like freaking out. I can't smell that. It smells like the Satan's bidet.
Another thing I was curious about is like, is that a real thing?
Satan's bidet or
No,
smelling salts?
smelling salts.
Have you ever had that? They use that when you pass out to wake you up because it burns your nose.
I get that, but would that like ruin like
Your smell? Yeah, it's strong. It's like,
I get why it would affect your
if
smell,
I cut
but
a
like,
piece of garlic and then stuck it up your nose, do you think that would affect your smell?
well, I also think chopping off my nose would probably affect
I'm not
the way I
chopping
smell
off your
things.
nose. I'm
just
chopping
saying,
up garlic.
But like, so maybe that would like interfere with your nose, but like, would that like affect your taste buds too, or just
Smell, I believe, is 70% of what you taste. So if you ever want to try this experiment, which we can, plug your nose while you're eating something and see how it tastes. Your conscious mind, if it's something that you've had before, your conscious mind will kind of fill in the gaps, but it will taste a little weird.
Now I've heard that before. I was just wondering if like
That's why food tastes different when you're sick or stuffy.
no.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it does for Sam. 100%.
Well-
because you know why? Because he's always stuffy, so he actually doesn't know what.
I don't know what
food
authentic
actually
food tastes. Yeah.
He just knows it as a stuffy
I'm like
food.
100% all the time in allergy mode, so I'm just constantly just
He's allergic to the
Living.
air. But yeah, smelling is a big time taste. Fucks up with your taste. But Shuffles chugs the beer and then burps it and then smells his burp.
do you call them shuffles?
Truffles.
Truffles. He shuffles along.
Truffles. So then Truffles beats Kale. Rodman wins. Everyone's super excited. super
Surprise
stoked.
win.
I know. I mean, going into the episode, you knew they were going to win.
But did we though?
I did.
I don't know. They definitely have like that underdog feel most of
but-
the time.
What's the point of the show?
What is the point of the show, David? I still don't know.
For them to win.
What? The chance to come back for a second season?
I hope. Because what is this podcast for?
Not exclusively to review Brews Brothers, but yeah, that basically sums up.
The competition.
And there's a little bit like
Afterwards, it's actually the meat of the episode, I feel, was like after the competition because Adam is drunk and then tells Will that he loves him and that he's proud of him.
you get a little bit of that brotherly bonding.
And then Will was like, that's all I've ever wanted. And he's like so happy about it. But then Adam
Drops the
drunkfully
bomb.
thanks Sarah in front of Will. Thank you for calling me to come save my brother's brewery. And then Will like, what the fuck, Sarah? And then second bomb, Sarah's like, I was worried about the brewery. I was worried about you. And then Will's like, wait, what?
Huh?
You
And
were
it's like,
worried about
oh, look
me?
at the time. And then she like leaves.
Well, then
basically.
like Will's like, ugh. And then Sarah's like, and like
I don't like how this turned out. I'm gone.
Both of them did not handle that in a correct way. If Will didn't see her like that, he shouldn't have said that. If Will did see her like that, or just then realize, oh, she's into me like that, he shouldn't have said that. Sarah should have just, she's been like the most mature person. She's just come out and say, hey, I'm into you. That's easy enough.
I mean, like, no, I don't think that would be outside of her character to do that. But I just like, I don't. That would make sense to me that she wouldn't just outright
maybe it's
say that.
her one kryptonite that she can't be forward with someone that she really cares about.
Well, maybe I'm thinking it's just like an on your own time kind of thing. Like I don't think she was prepared to say it.
Yeah,
Or
but
that
yeah,
kind of thing.
I
in that
guess
moment.
yeah.
Everyone
then-
was just taken by surprise.
Then the biggest meat of it all. Chewie, Adam, and Truffles are outside sitting on the sidewalk eating outside the food truck. Then Becky calls Adam over.
What's this?
I know. We're like, I'm very shocked. Oh, she's finally into him because he's drunk, and he's being a lot more, I guess, nicer and just funny around to be when he's drunk.
He's his best self.
Yeah. And Becky's like, oh, like he actually tells Becky, oh, I like you, and then she's like, oh. She then says, oh yeah, me and Ellis have been looking to do a third, and then Adam, a responsible response is, oh yeah, I'm cool with like a poly, maybe a threesome kind of thing. And Becky flips the table and says, well, me and Elvis are one, so it's really a twosome but with 3 people. And then Adam, just wanting to be with Becky, is like,
yeah, sure,
let's
whatever.
do it. So they go inside the food truck. And then Elvis and Becky are making out, and then he's like, Adam's like, oh, how about the guest gets involved? And then Adam closes his eyes, goes to kiss Becky, but Elvis starts making out with him. And then Adam's like, oh, not that I don't like this, but maybe it could be like 70-30, even 80-20,
90-10.
Maybe you sit in that chair and watch, or you watch on the internet later. And then Becky's like, oh, when you're with Elvis, you're with me. And then she basically gets up and sits in a chair to look at shoes online while Adam and Elvis have sex.
They don't show it. But it's like implied.
Yeah, they embrace and they start making out, and then they go to the floor.
Cut to the next scene, and Adam's like limping around.
Yeah, the next scene is no one remembers. Well, they say no one remembers, but it's Sarah and Will at the bar, and Sarah's like, I'm sorry for last night. And then Will's like, oh, I was drunk. What happened? But I think he was lying.
Well, yeah, because he was sober when they were talking.
Well,
so.
I don't know if that worked, but I think he remembers.
You think so?
No matter what he remembers. Obviously Sarah remembers.
Well,
but then they pretend not to remember because they're afraid to do that, especially working.
I'm like, well, and plus they don't outright say what happened.
Yeah.
So it's like up to your imagination at this point.
Then Adam shows up and he's like, oh, I'm so hungover. He doesn't remember anything. And then he tells Will, he's like, oh, just forget about it. Let's just forget about everything I said. Don't worry about it. And Will's like, oh, okay. He seems a little upset because, Adam told Will that he loves him and he's proud of him. But Adam gets the smell back, and Chewy is still mopping the vomit. Truffles shows up in tourist LA clothing. He decides to stay in LA. He then says he fucked Becky last night, and Adam's like, "Oh, you mean Elvis?" And
nope.
He's like, "No, Becky." Oh, like Elvis was there. He's like, "No, that'd be weird." No, I snorted Becky's underwear. So then, as Adam walks away, they hear the jingling again, and everyone thinks it's a cat. And that's it.
That was it's episode 5, basically.
That was a meaty episode.
I like how that length of time of us like summarizing that episode was almost the length of the episode.
Was it 20 minutes?
It's nearly.
Oh, it's 34
It's close.
minutes. Wow.
I'm thinking we're pretty close.
Yeah, we're halfway through, and we got episode 2 coming, or episode 6 coming right at you.
Immediately.
But first, I'm going to try this other beer that Sam said was kind of weird.
It's good. It's good. It's not as sour as your typical sour, but pleasantly so.
That's weird.
It's different.
I got a hit of roast bean.
It's in
right
there.
away. And then a warm sour.
Mm-hmm.
I think the roast is tricking my mind that this beer is really warm.
Well, for what I think it's been sitting out a little bit, so it's probably
it's cold in
has
my
something
hand.
to do with it.
It's just like reminds me of a Tootsie Pop. Like you got that flavor around the Tootsie, but then you had the Tootsie in it.
Like one of those fruity Tootsies.
It's fruit and then sweet, some sort of darker flavor. Right. But it's like if someone is dropping the whole thing in your mouth. Mm-hmm. That's a crazy flavor. I don't know if I like it.
But I don't know if you'd agree.
It reminds me of a Tootsie Pop for sure.
You think so?
Yeah. What were you saying?
I don't like, but I think it's not as like sour in the way of a typical sour.
The sour is the least part about the beer. Bless you.
Excuse me.
You can't sneeze. COVID. You gotta. I'm gonna die.
Hey, you're lucky I like did it into the crook of my arm.
I'm gonna get COVID.
The bank robbing portion of my
I
arm.
am getting COVID right now, ladies and gentlemen. No, sorry. Yeah, it tastes weird. I'm not sure if I like it.
I think if you gotten it straight out of the fridge, you might think different.
Well, I have 2 more down here, so maybe I'll put one in the fridge. All right. Episode 6 is called Sam got the best gift in the world from his best bud.
From the best bud in the world.
Because I know Sam so well, I got him a Crave box. There's a subscription, but on Amazon you can buy a single box, and it's like 50 snacks or 48 snacks.
That's too many. It's too like I don't know. The subscription model would not work for something like that because that box is stuffed. Like you could do one and be good for like a month.
You're eating at least 2.5 a day. That's 2.5 snacks a day. And I went for the one that had more junk food than the one that had the raisins. But I think this one actually may have some healthier snacks. But he's eating mini Chips Ahoy, and I know he enjoys it. I also got him a sweet guitar strap.
Honestly, that was pretty sick too. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's got like a Japanese koi wave thing.
You definitely know my stuff that I like.
Yep, I don't know what it says. Maybe we should look it up. Maybe it says "fuck."
Probably, yeah, it's like this guy is an idiot or something on it.
All right, episode 6, Laszlo Suna, who's a character we meet on this episode. That's the title of the episode. Directed by Robert Cohen and written by Greg Schaffer.
Robert Cohen?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I'm like, all right, I know the Cohen brothers. What are their individual names? Is this one of the Cohen brothers?
It's Robert Cohen.
That would be incredible if they got one of the Cohen brothers to direct.
I was like, where's my phone? And it's right here.
Where's my phone that I've been looking at this whole time for Cliff
Netflix
Notes?
summary. With a whopping offer, the breweries debate between releasing their first beer in a bottle versus a can. It erupts into an unpleasurable situation.
Is that a real word?
Unpleasurable?
Well, I guess that unpleasurable sounds more pleasing to the ears than impleasurable.
Impleasurable is not
Non-pleasurable.
Not.
Nigh-on pleasurable.
Non-pleasure. Dash
Neon pleasurable.
No pleasure.
Yeah, pleasurable.
No. All right, so we open up with what? He looks so sad.
That's okay. I've got enough stuff. Dude, it's fine.
Just put it in there. Okay, be careful. Don't spreading my germs.
Continue. People are waiting to hear.
So yeah, we open up to Will and Adam on the street playing with kegs, bowling kegs, and Will is winning. We then see Will and Adam look at this guy parked next to Carnal, which is the high-end erotic dispensary next to them. Poor child over here. High-end dispensary. And they're like, oh, he must be a famous guy because he's at Carnal, because everyone's a famous person at Carnal because they deal with celebrities. And Adam just names off brewmasters and his own celebrities, but not actual celebrities. So then they go talk to this guy, and they're like helping him with unloading his van full of dildos. So he is a maker of dildos, and he supplies Carnal with dildos. And he's another version of Adam.
Basically, he's like, yeah. He's if Adam was in another industry, being,
I think Laszlo says he's the Picasso of dildos, and then Adam says, oh, I think Picasso is the Adam of painting. He offers Laszlo to come visit the brewery, and then Laszlo offers him a free dildo. So it's, a match made in heaven.
Side note, Me and David thought that Laszlo was like a dead ringer for like a Sam Rockwell.
He looks a lot like Sam Rockwell.
If the show had more money and could bring in like household name actors, that would have been Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
I'm gonna see, and I have a list of the actual names of the actors. Greg Taculescu is Laszlo.
Taculescu?
Taculescu. Tuculescu.
What kind of name is that?
Romanian.
Taculescu.
All right, so then we're back at the brewery.
Too cool for school.
The founders are back. We haven't seen them in a while, and they're working out at the brewery, like with resistant bands. And they like do some workout. And they're like, "Oh, pour us another round." And they're like, "Wait, you're working out?" It's like, "Oh, it's called interval training." And I've never felt more understood in my life.
That spoke to us.
That was beautiful.
I almost didn't catch that.
It's so quick and they don't make it a big deal. That was my favorite part.
It's a total throwaway joke.
Will introduces his free East Belgium jar, which he then goes on a long rant about freeing the east side of Belgium, who speak German.
From Belgium.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, we got to support them, and you guys got to go vote." In the background, you see a lot more people at the brewery, more than ever.
It's like, there are hints that there's like, business is starting to pick up a bit. So that's kind of cool for them.
Yeah, I like the slow steadiness. Now there's like a couple people in the background drinking beer, having a good time.
It's like something's happening.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah.
All right, so then we're introduced to, I believe, Sabrina,
The teenage witch.
She's a lot older. She right up in front. It's like, "You must be the owner," to Will. She is a distributor, just like our friend Cole from the first two episodes. But unlike Cole, she distributes everywhere, and I'm assuming everywhere in LA. She is offering to ramp up production and wants a big order of beer. But she says a small order, and Adam's like, "Oh, this is a small order.
This is the largest order I've ever dealt with."
So we're seeing the natural growth of a business. And Will is very loyal to Cole. Straight off, because he's like, I already have a distributor, sorry. Which is rare in a brewery. I feel like you want your beer to be everywhere. That's just me. We do see a couple shots of Chewy, like looking at what Will's doing with Sabrina, and nothing comes of it. But maybe we'll see if that comes anything in the future. Chewy and the founders then take the money from the free East Belgium and go to a strip club.
Because something oddly reminded him of said strip club. What was it? There was like there was
Belgium,
a joke with that.
There's a thing called Bell's Gym.
Oh, right.
In Van Nuys, and Chewy's like, "Oh yeah, it's like that gym with the buffet line." And
Where girls are constantly walking
with the ladies walking around. I was like, "Oh shit, that's a strip club." Sarah then pops up and says, actually no, Adam and Will are arguing over how they should label their beer. They're about to bottle or can it. Adam's like, "No label."
No label
beer.
and strictly bottles.
Yeah. Sarah says it should be Friar Lucas drinking from his beer bowl, which I think would be a great thing.
For the label.
Yeah. Then Sarah says, "I got into UCLA," and we're all shocked.
Are we? Well, they're shocked. And by her own admission, she's like, "Oh, well, I didn't do so hot in school."
She said she told in her essay that she had to give up her dream of MMA because of injury, and her family disowned her, and she's by herself.
Like the saddest backstory.
Yeah. Adam says, "Oh, that's the kind of story you tell, the judge to reduce your sentence." Chewy is not feeling so well and asks Will and Adam if he can go home, but they're like, "No, Well, Adam says, yeah, go for it. And Will's like, no, the last time you said you were not feeling well, you went to the beach.
And also, this is a big thing coming up, all hands on deck.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know if you got that feeling, but I thought like he was faking it.
I thought he was faking feeling sick.
Yeah.
But then maybe it was just like I'm not feeling sick, but he has this situation.
I don't know, like, okay, once they like talk about his
literally
condition.
5 seconds later, he coughs and then passes out at the bar, and then Will's like, oh.
Right. Up until they come up with this condition that he gets diagnosed with, I'm like, it still doesn't feel like he's actually sick.
The next shot is Will and Adam at a diner eating, and Sarah took Chewy to the doctor. Will and Adam are talking about the beer, and it's a quadruple Belgian beer, which is an actual beer. I agree on this point that this beer should be in bottle. I 100% will always say this: beer is better in a can, but not every beer is better in a can. I think Belgiums like that should be in a bottle, but pale ales, IPAs, ambers, blondes, regular normal beer that don't rely on second fermentation should be in a can.
Messages, guys. Bottles or cans? What's your preference?
We should totally do this, and then like
Survey.
Sam probably likes bottles because he mostly has bottles.
I mean, like, I'm not married to one over the other, but I definitely
I think
drink
we
more
can
bottles.
both agree that tap draft is the ultimate way to get beer.
I like it out of the faucet.
Yeah, draft.
No, like my sink.
No,
That's how you get beer, right? You like hook up a keg to like your sink faucet.
yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Get all that rustic sensibility in there.
You're quick enough to finish a keg.
That's what I do. Yeah. Just drain it out.
But yeah, draft is top. Can for me, I feel like it seals more. Also, the sun can't get into the can as easy as bottle, but it can't get warm. But that's for both things. Both of those carriers can get warm without it being in direct sunlight.
Well,
but if you put a lamp on a beer bottle, that's going to shine right through the beer.
I don't know. I think of beer can versus bottle the same way I think of like sodas. Like I prefer sodas out of a bottle.
A plastic bottle.
No, like a glass bottle.
Well, that's Mexican. That's Mexican soda, and you don't see that.
Yeah.
Which are you willing to only drink that soda as long as it's overpriced too?
Yeah. It's
I've
better.
I've seen your car. It's full of plastic Dr. Pepper liter bottles.
You said, would you prefer? And
I'm asking
if
you
that was what was
you
around,
do. What do you do?
if any chance I get, always a bottle.
That you can find a bottle every chance you get. You just got to go to Bevmo. They have those sodas there.
I'm not going to Bevmo.
It's right down the street.
Too far.
It's the closest.
If I can't log roll in, like just lay down and then just like I can't mimic it at a chair, but like spin. I'm gonna like tangle up myself, but but if I could roll,
please keep doing that.
But if I could roll down like the street and end up at the doorstep, sure.
You could. We've walked to the Food for Less right across from the Bevmo. It's not a far walk.
It's not right across from the Bevmo. Anyway,
It's
we're
under
getting
the
away
bridge.
from the episode.
Anyways, it's all about cans.
Bottles.
Cans. So yeah, then Adam and Will are talking about the quad. And then a paraplegic in a wheelchair comes by and he hears them saying quad a lot. And
Bad
he
timing.
mistakes it for them making fun of people who are, handicapped.
Let it be known that us here at Beard Me That Beer are pro paraplegic.
We are pro whatever you want to be.
We are pro enable your lifestyle.
If handicapped, you're another person to me. I expect you to do the work.
Just in case. That's ever in
have
doubt.
that
Live your life.
That work mentality. If you come to work, you're going to work.
Yeah. I'm not going to treat you any different as long as you're...
If you ask for a special keyboard or a special shade for your monitor, cool. You need it. But I'm still looking at you as you're here to work. Let's go work. But this guy calls him out, and then Will and Adam get kicked out of the diner. The smartest thing they've ever done. They take the food in their hands.
Right.
They Adam has like a half a chicken sandwich, and Will has like a full chicken sandwich in his hand with a full grip of fries, and walk out.
Good for them. Keep what you pay for.
I never thought that would. I never thought that.
And actually, honestly, like in that kind of setup, like don't you usually like pay
You
after
pay
the
after,
fact?
so they didn't pay for their
So
food.
smart.
And, yeah, good for them. Again, they keep arguing about the quad being in a bottle or a can. Laszlo is back at the brewery trying beer, and then they all kind of agree that a bottle is better for this beer. They literally agree, and then the next scene is Will bringing a canning machine, and then Adam's like, "Why did you buy that?" And then it's like, "Way too expensive." And Sarah's like, "Yeah, way too expensive. We're going to cans. It would cut into our profit margin," which is true. Sarah frames her UCLA admissions letter. Good for her.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job, Sarah.
Will and Chewie go to the warehouse to pick up the cans.
Which is this is kind of like a highlight scene too, I think.
Chewie coughs and passes out.
So he's out.
Yeah, Will puts him in a chair and puts him away. The supervisor is the paraplegic from the diner, and he's you can guess he's not going to give Will the cans. Will then totally
He saves it.
If he shows him proof of a picture of a beer called the Quad, and he said, "I will write letters for them to change at the Craft Beer Association to change the Quad beer to something else
Above and beyond to make amends.
So Mr. Supervisor is okay with it. He's like, "We're cool, man. We're cool."
And
then Chewie rolls back into the scene,
still sleeping,
pretending he's maybe making fun of. But he's asleep. He's passed out. He's just having dreams.
He's like sleep chair rolling.
And the paraplegic man takes it as, "You're making fun of me." And then, so basically tells Will, "We're done." And then Will's like, no, I can't get those.
I can't get those short glasses, those short bottles.
And he calls them stumpies. And then a guy behind him turns around, has no arm, and says, "Hey, fuck you, asshole."
It's like, really? You serious?
Yeah. What?
Accidental offense.
And right before this, or was it? No, yeah. So they can't get the cans, and then Will's like, "Oh, we're getting bottles." So they order bottles. They'll be there the next day. We then fast forward to the next day, and Adam is already pouring the beer. But Adam changed the order of the bottles, and he has these great blue-looking bottles.
Sleek, well-designed looking.
A little sparkly, really cool. Will and Adam go for a cheers, and the bottles snap. Break completely. Will cuts his hand, then Adam's like, "Oh, it's not that bad." Pours the rest of the beer into the cup, and drinks it, and then starts bleeding out of his mouth. Chewie then comes along. He's like, "Look what I can do. I can open the beer without a bottle." Flicks the top of the bottle, breaks it, and then he drinks it. And he doesn't bleed.
Different
luck or I don't know. So then we're at the front of the brewery. Laszlo is crying his ass off in a public place really loudly, saying that Cardinal rejected his dildo idea. He has a glass dildo idea that is hollow, that you put a camera inside.
Which was not popular with the folks at Cardinal.
Yeah, Cardinal was not down for that. So unfortunately, he's never been rejected. So he already mass-produced all the dildos. So he has tons of dildos that don't make sense, that are
hollow glass
dildos,
bottle-sized dildos.
Strong.
Just laying around.
Will gets idea.
Mass-produced.
Hey, let's use these as our bottles. So this is the first glass dildo beer bottle ever. And I would not drink from this for sure.
I would pour them into a glass, maybe.
I would, yeah, maybe. I would think it was a gimmick from like Bacardi or something, though.
As a gag gift,
Yeah.
maybe I would buy something like this for somebody.
From some straight heterosexual Republican that is, not open with himself.
Or like a Spencer's. It feels like a beer you'd buy at a Spencer's.
When you take your dad to Spencer's.
Yeah, right next.
Like, what the fuck? Are
right
you
next to
doing
those
here?
like electric pulse
Penis
globe
ring.
things. Yeah, exactly. Can you take me to the back where all the good stuff is?
Yeah, there's that little section that's not curtained off, but just like adults only.
Yeah.
Okay. So then Chewy shows up with his soccer buds. But everyone thought they were adults, but he's actually the coach of a teen, maybe even less than teen
it's like
soccer team.
Preteen,
Yeah.
young teen.
So he brought a bunch of kids to a brewery to help bottle beer in a glass dildo. And you can guess where this montage goes. And one of the worst scenes I've ever seen is the kid shakes the bottle.
Don't need that.
And the bottle explodes all over his face. So then we go to the ending scene. Rodman's first bottle beer, the Belgian blonde accommodator, which is the joke from the first episode. The guy looking for the dildo called the accommodator.
I do like that they kind of lean into it.
Yeah, they bring out, a joke from 5 episodes ago.
It's coming full circle now.
Yeah.
Everyone mistaking them for a sex shop.
Then Adam gives Sarah's letter of rec back to her, saying, "Hey, you should read that
closely."
Yeah, and she starts reading. It's like, "Congratulations, Sarah Drexler, I think is her last name. You have been accepted to UCLA
Summer program,
youth program, a way to experience college before leaving high school." So she didn't actually get into UCLA. She got into their summer program, but she graduated high school already.
Sad face.
And that's the end of the episode.
Basically.
Good episodes. By far the most plot-driven.
Definitely.
Characters have grown so much in 2 episodes versus the first 4.
At this point, I feel they're definitely more fleshed out at this point. And, like, I don't know.
There's no more build-up.
It's not so much build-up anymore. It's just, like, now it's, like, they're, like, I mean, like, they were self-contained before, but I feel like they've kind of, like, come into their own. Like, they've kind of, like, they're like, oh, okay, they kind of settled on what they're doing now. So that's like, okay, this is kind of where we live at now. So we're just going to write in this kind of fashion. So these definitely feel like the most fleshed out episodes thus far.
We know the people already. We know how
Yeah.
to act, but we're pleasantly surprised with some of the decisions they make and some of it, like the Sarah going to college. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like she would do really well in college, but she also does really well in the real world.
Right.
Adam telling Will that he loves him and he's proud of him, even though he's drunk.
And him opening up just in general, like, drinking for the first time.
Yeah, he was drunk and everyone loved him. And then good for Adam being open and having sex with Elvis. He probably didn't want to, but
I mean, like, they don't like I kind of thought, I don't know, it was maybe a little more tasteful than I thought they would have done with that particular thing. Like,
for sure.
Yeah, no, I was like,
Adam could have just rejected the whole idea.
It kind of just like
he went with it.
He went with it, and then it kind of just came and went, and they didn't really talk about it. So I was like,
they just kind of did the thing, and that was it.
A lesser show, like there would have been a moment where everyone was like,
but
or
we
like
haven't
really
seen
just talk
him
about
and
it.
Elvis back together.
No, I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I'm kind of waiting to see what happens with that. I'm like, well, okay. Well, is he on the Becky train, or what? Is there something new happening?
Does he fall in love with Elvis?
I don't know.
This show has pleasant surprise. It's still very cheesy. There's some gags that aren't as funny, but there's some jokes that they just like pass. Like The Office has like some really good jokes that just aren't like they don't make a whole scene about it.
They don't call attention to it. But
like the working out at the brewery.
Yeah.
That shit was so funny.
And
interval training.
That was good. Yeah, exactly. Like real brief, just like, here's a joke, but like we're just gonna power past it.
But we're not putting in a lot of into it.
And no, I'm shaping up. Like, this show is growing on me.
I feel like we only have 2 episodes left. I really felt like it should be 10 episodes.
Well, I'll know by the end of next week.
Yeah, we will.
So I'd mentioned to David, like, I wasn't super like it was a fine show from the start, but like this isn't typically in my wheelhouse, this kind of thing, but it's definitely growing on me. The only not even real issue, but I guess if I'm nitpicking,
It's an issue.
It's like a minor nitpick for me, because like it's like the only thing that kind of like might steer me away if it like really keeps harping on that particular thing. But I think there's like a little bit of like an over reliance on like body humor, just for me, like because they're like
I don't
oh
feel
yeah,
anyone does body humor. I think the body is talked about, maybe.
oh really? Is that what you think?
I mean, there was a butt joke with the butt in the beer, but I can't think of another body humor.
I mean, that is a pretty
that shows the body.
well, it's not necessarily just like it doesn't have to show it, but it's like I don't know. There's more talk about it than I'm used to hearing in shows that I usually I can't put down.
But I feel like that's kind of like the world we live in. Like,
I understand that it's like I think that it's just part of the
might
demo
be
that they're
gross
trying to
brewery
cater to.
talk.
Like yeah. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just for me in particular, it's not something I normally like go my way to watch. But it is
fine.
perfectly fine.
Which is fine.
That is some people's cup of tea.
And I'm looking
it is a little
forward
less
to
so.
the last 2 episodes of this season.
I like it.
So thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Keep watching us. Keep watching Brew Brothers, and then we'll talk about it. Just sit down and chat. This is fun.
Thank you, Mikkeller SD, for the beer.
For 2 wonderful beers. Keep drinking, keep listening.